Tokugawa Japan built its money the way an engineer builds a bridge, with 3 pillars of gold, silver, and copper, all tied together by fixed exchange rates and faith. Then, slowly, the builders swapped steel for tin. From the 17th through the 19th century, the shogunate kept reducing the precious metal inside its coins. The result was textbook Gresham. Bad money chases out good. Merchants hoarded the heavy coins. Prices climbed like ivy up a wall, and trade slid toward rice receipts and foreign bullion. In the end, monetary chaos helped loosen the joints of Tokugawa power, just as ancient Greek cities learned when they clipped their coinage until trust snapped. Begin at the start of the Edo order. Tokugawa Ieyasu's mint produced the Keicho Koban, an oval gold coin meant to anchor the system. A typical Keicho Koban weighed roughly 17¾ grams and was about 86% gold. It was a serious promise stamped into metal, the sort of coin a merchant would weigh with a nod and slide into a chest without a second thought. This coin was trust made tangible. But in the year 1695, the government flinched to stimulate circulation. It issued the Genroku Koban at nearly the same weight, but with the gold content slashed to around 57%. Imagine selling a liter of milk that is almost half water and declaring it a boon for breakfast. Traders understood immediately. The older, rich Koban vanished into drawers and temple vaults, while the bright new ones rang on the counters. Prices rose, not because merchants became greedy overnight, but because the unit of account had been thinned. This was a political decision with monetary consequences. The debasement did not stop there. In the Hoi era after 1706, the shogunate tried to backtrack toward quality, but shrank the coin's size so far that its metal value still lagged. When Tokugawa Yoshimune took office, he faced a fiscal state that looked like a great house propped on creaking beams. His Kyoho reforms of the 17 teens sought to restore fineness. For a moment, quality improved again. Then the Genbun recoinage of 1736 pulled the floorboards out once more, cutting the pure gold in the Koban by roughly 44% from the Kyoho standard. If you run a shop and your measuring cup keeps changing size, you do not become a better shopkeeper by pretending otherwise. You switch to something stable. In Osaka and Edo, that something became rice bills and silver by weight. The market voted with its scales. Rice was not merely food, it was income, tax, and collateral. Daimyo stipends were quoted in koku, the amount of rice that could feed one person for a year. Out of this reality grew a financial marvel. The Dojima Rice Exchange in Osaka. By the 1690s, it was the beating heart of rice finance. By 1730, the shogunate had formally authorized spot trading in rice bills and even rice futures. There were membership rolls, clearing functions, and price transmission by courier to other cities. If the koban was a wobbling yardstick, rice bills became the ledger lines everyone could read. The exchange made paper trustworthy because it settled in grain and reputation. This was an early futures market, born a century before many European exchanges copied the idea. When coin quality sagged, Osaka merchants and rice brokers reacted exactly as a disciplined portfolio manager would. They hoarded undervalued assets, shed overvalued liabilities, and wrote contracts that referenced the thing people actually wanted. In the alleyways of Dojima, you could buy rice not yet harvested, hedge your stipend against a poor autumn, or borrow against a warehouse receipt. This was finance as irrigation. Sluice gates and channels directing value away from debased coin and toward instruments that kept their purchasing power. It was not speculation for sport. It was risk management in a wobbly monetary climate. By the early 19th century, the currency's seesawing quality had become a habit. In the Tempo reform of 1837, the authorities again reduced the gold content of the koban by shrinking it. Analytical work by the Bank of Japan's researchers shows the gold per coin stepping down from roughly 7 and a bit grams to about 6.5 grams. The coin's overall weight hovered around 11 grams and change, an uncomfortable reminder that the Rio stamped on its face no longer matched the Rio as a measure of metal. The state, needing revenue and control, treated coinage like a sponge to squeeze the market. Needing certainty, treated the coin like a hot stone to drop. Every cut in fineness was a tax without a vote. All of this would have remained a largely domestic juggling act if Japan had stayed closed. Then came the 1850s and the unequal opening to global trade. Here, arithmetic did what politics could not. Inside Japan, the gold to silver ratio had long floated near 1 to 5. Outside, it was closer to 1 to 15. That spread was an arbitrageur's drumbeat. Foreign merchants could bring in silver, swap it for gold at the Japanese rate, ship the gold out, and triple their silver holdings in world markets. Contemporary observers registered market rates around 1 to 10, depending on which silver coinage was used. But the core point was brutal. Japan's composite currency, worsened by token coins and past debasements, was misaligned with the world. Gold rushed out like water through a broken sluice. The outflow was so swift that a modern monetary historian dubbed it one of the greatest gold trades ever. In 1859, with treaty ports open, buying gold cheaply in Japan and selling dear abroad became the surest trade in finance. The kind of mechanical profit that even a cautious London house would greenlight. If you are an investor, think of a persistent price dislocation between two exchanges with low friction. Every ship that left Yokohama carried not just silk and tea, but the residue of earlier mispricing and debasement. The system had priced its own wealth for export. Debasement also bred counterfeits. After each reform, the flood of new types made it easy for forgers to pass slightly lighter coins alongside official issues. By the time Commodore Matthew Perry sailed into Edo Bay in the early 1850s, merchants often preferred older, heavier koban to later official pieces. It is the same instinct you see today when a trader prefers a well-audited stablecoin over a flashy new token with a promotional yield. Trust is the ultimate collateral. When trust goes, money is only metal. If you squint, the Tokugawa ledger reads like a long equity chart of confidence. Every time the mint diluted the coin, the market demanded more coins for the same rice, the same labor, the same roof beam. Prices did not howl all at once. They crept as careful households demanded a little extra for their miso and cloth. Samurai paid in rice, watched stipends, buy less. Rioters smashed rice brokers' storehouses when shortages and speculation bit, and the shogunate lurched between edicts to fix prices and edicts to restore fineness. Policy whiplash is a costly form of inflation. The comparison to ancient Greece is not a cheap flourish. Greek cities that leaned on silver mines and clipped coins discovered that a currency is a story you can tell only so many times before your listeners stop believing you. Japan's story rhymed. The bakufu's budget gaps, its need to bribe the present with tomorrow's metal, and its tolerance for a split standard created exactly the incentives that hamstring a modern central bank when it tries to fund the treasury by stealth. Debasement is a hidden deficit. The bill always arrives. The ancient Greek debasement episodes and their collapse in trust are the cautionary echo here. The mechanism is the same even if the actors wore different robes. There are 3 lessons for investors. First, quality deterioration is seldom random. When a firm quietly cheapens inputs, it is trying to buy time. In Tokugawa, Japan, that meant the state chasing seigniorage. In today's markets, it often means a management team stretching margins or pumping non-cash gains. Second, markets reprice risk by changing their unit of account. Osaka merchants move to rice bills and foreign silver, just as modern investors flee into treasury bills or high-quality collateral when the accounting gets creative. Third, global arbitrage will find you. Japan's 1:5 internal gold to silver ratio could not survive contact with a 1:15 world. If your company's cost of capital is mispriced by policy, the outside world will correct it. Let us make this visceral. You run a mid-Edo sake brewery. Yesterday, you sold a barrel for 1 koban and bought a fixed basket of rice, timber staves, and charcoal. Today, the same koban buys less rice because the coin is lighter and the charcoal seller now asks for silver by weight. You could raise your sake price, or you could accept payment in rice bills, or you could give discounts for older koban. Whatever you choose, you are not speculating. You are defending your margin against the state's quiet tax. That is exactly what a modern retailer does when it changes sticker prices, tightens return policies, or negotiates supply contracts in dollars instead of a weakening local currency. Good operators manage currency risk, even when the currency is their own government's promise. Names matter in this saga. Tokugawa Ieyasu set the initial standard. Tokugawa Tsunayoshi presided over the Genroku debasement. Tokugawa Yoshimune tried to repair the damage with the Kyoho reforms, and then, under pressure, allowed the Genbun cut that undid the repairs. Uka Tadasuke appears as the official who helped license the Dojima market in 1730, tying the shogunate to the rice exchange it once distrusted. Commodore Matthew Perry's arrival in the early 1850s, and the subsequent Ansei treaties wrenched the closed system open to arithmetic. Each figure stands at a pivot where policy met price. These were not abstract forces. These were people making choices. The coda is Meiji. In the 1870s, Japan adopted the yen, built a modern mint, and joined the global gold standard. That leap was not merely technological. It was a decision to anchor value to a rule that foreigners understood. After 2 centuries of oscillation, the state conceded that trust in money had to be engineered with clear pegs, transparent weights, and credible institutions. Investors do not ask for perfection. We ask for a measuring stick that does not change its length in the night. The measure is the market's memory. When you study a market, look past the price chart into the balance between the metal and the stamp. Read the footnotes of the monetary regime. Is the issuer telling you the truth about the fineness of the promise? Are alternative units of account quietly taking over, like rice bills in Osaka? Are cross-border ratios inviting easy trades that will drain your asset's value? If the answer to any of these is yes, then price stability is borrowed time. And borrowed time, as Tokugawa merchants and daimyo learned, comes due with interest. Skeptics might say debasement is ancient business. Yet any time a government forces banks to hold more of its debt, or a central bank funds deficits while insisting it is temporary, the old Edo pattern winks at us across the centuries. Coins become paper, paper becomes reserves, reserves become journal entries. The labels change. The logic does not. Money that loses its anchor loses its friends. Japan's merchants protected themselves with rice and foreign silver. Modern investors use hard assets, short duration, and currencies whose institutions have earned their scars. The Tokugawa lesson, in scholars' ink and traders' shorthand, is this: never mistake a seal for substance. The weighing scale still decides. And that is why a story of oval coins from Edo is not just numismatics. It is a case study in incentives, credibility, and the iron law that value lives where trust resides. When trust is clipped, so are coins, contracts, and governments.